Hey everyone, Bailey911 coming in with a new tutorial on how to do the Tilt-A-Grid. Now this is just a Forge only thing. You can't be done in custom games, although it would be awesome if you could. So first off, what you're going to do is you're going to spawn a grid. You're going to leave it on either phased or fixed. I prefer to do fixed. And what you're going to do is you're going to edit your coordinates so that you know where the middle is, so you can get a clear idea of where the middle is, because you're going to need to do something later with the very middle of the grid. So once you get that centered all the way, you're going to aim right towards the center of the grid. And I had to pull out a little bit. Bow chicka bow wow. And what you're going to do is you're going to spawn 2 overshields. And one of them has to be underneath the grid. And you're going to want to make sure it's very dead center. And then when you get that one underneath the grid, you want to give it a little extra space. In the video, I didn't actually give it too much space to begin with, but you'll see later what it can do when it has a little bit of space and when it has a lot of space. So what you're going to do is you're going to make sure those are centered and evened up, and then you're going to take one, you're going to rise it above the surface, but you don't want to give it too much space above. And you're going to set the respawn at instant, or you set the respawn at 1, and then you set the minimum amount of objects at 2 so that they instantly respawn. And if somebody's an asshole and they steal the bottom one, then the grid doesn't just go falling into the ocean. Now, when you're going to do this as a game type, if you're going to play with your friends in Forge and mess around like it's a custom game, you're going to want to spawn these shields here to block off the overshields so that people don't grab them. And if you're having trouble seeing, you can make a stunt ramp right beneath it, and that gives you a reference of where everything's equalized. For me, I just kind of threw these all together. I mean, this is a tutorial, it doesn't have to be pretty. And when you use the stunt ramp and you put it down there, it gives you a good line to work with if you want to make it squared off and even. For me, I used Juicy, so I could just get a sense of that everything was lined up. That helps, but seeing the grid makes seeing the grid a little bit harder. It's still really good though and helpful. And then here I'm just finishing closing it off, and then you'll see what happens right after. So now here, what you're going to do is you're going to take the grid and you're going to make it on normal. You're going to make it on normal, you're going to pick it up and let it go immediately. And as you can see, the grid is now rocking back and forth. And because I didn't give it so much room, this is all it's doing right now. So it's just going back and forth slowly, but this is the fun part. And like I said about, you want to make sure there's enough room underneath so that the grid drops a little bit but doesn't fall off. Because the grid can slide off, so you want to be careful with that. So now you're going to pick it up and let it go again, and there you go. You've got yourself a moving grid, and where you stand on it, it'll start to fall down on that position. You can make it start spinning really fast in a circle. If you have a lot of people, it can make for a fun game type. But like I said, this is a Forge only glitch and glitch / tutorial, because when you try to do it in custom game, the grid just stays in place. It won't move unless you were able to Forge mode and pick it up and drop it, because after about 5 seconds of it staying still, it goes into a default stage, like in Halo 3 forging. And this is really fun because you can have like a giant sword duel, people would be able to evade or sprint at each other, just cause some crazy Forge World mayhem. It's a fun game to try out. I mean, I personally haven't had 8 people do it, but it's fun nonetheless. And here I'm trying to show you what happens if you don't stand on it, you don't move it too frequently. You see is it just stops right there. Now I can just walk around on it, doesn't move at all, and this is what would happen if you did a custom game. But yeah, I mean, you can have fun with it, and hope you guys enjoy. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe.